Hi, how are you?
I'm good, Candelaria. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I'm Daniel. What do you have her on? A harness?
No, she has her collared. I'm just going to sit down. Sit down.
Can you do me a favor? All right, so I'm going to explain something.
Okay.
So, okay, when you're looking at this, you see how it looks like a capital P?
Yes.
All right, and then that's like,
Go through that.
right. So if she's looking at you, I want it to be a capital P, put it over her head, nice and high, right behind her ears. Once it's there, just pull this leather tab up. That's going to prevent her from being able to back out. Does that make sense?
Yes.
How's it going, man?
How you doing?
I'm Daniel.
Michael.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Yeah, I've been seeing your videos for like around quite a while.
Yeah, on TikTok?
Yeah, I've been I was like, I think I really want to like go to him, but I wish we could have came sooner before it got.
Yeah. Well, you're here now. We'll see how we can help. Go ahead, have a seat. Here, let me take her from you. Okay. Go ahead, have a seat. And then just ignore her for the rest of the consultation, okay? Don't tell her it's okay. Don't say her name, none of that. All right.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
All right. So before we get into everything, I just want to ask some questions, get an understanding of where we're at, and then we'll dive right into everything, okay? How old is she?
She is a year and 5 months.
Yeah.
A year and 5 months. And then how old was she when you got her?
She was born in December. We got her in March. She was like 2 months. December 26th.
So, okay, so let's 3 months, so about, 12 weeks, so 3 months old. Where'd you get her from?
La Pulga.
La Pulga, a flea market.
Like the outside,
Yeah.
they sell a bunch of dogs.
Yeah. All right. What'd you guys pay for her, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, 3.
Okay. Good girl. What kind of food does she eat?
Well, now she's eating a mixture of kibble and the fresh pet food, but I usually, whenever she's with me, because she's with my boyfriend and me, I cook her food. I make her sweet potato, green peas, pumpkin puree, kale, and a lot of turkey meat.
Is does she need, is it a special diet, or is it just what you want to do for her?
Well, she was overweight
Yeah.
because I thought she was pregnant.
Yeah.
So I was feeding her like she was pregnant. She got really overweight. She was around like how was she, like 80 pounds?
Nah, like I don't even know, but
Yeah,
we
but she
got
was
to-
very overweight, and I was like, okay, well, yeah, I need to cut her back, and I also wanted to like feed her more fresh foods.
Okay.
My goal was to like get her toned and bulked up, and so I started.
So she ended up not being pregnant.
No. She ended up not being pregnant. I was a fuss.
Okay. And so her feeding schedule, is it structured? Like, is it once in the morning, once in the evening, or does she get to just graze and eat whenever she wants?
So she eats once a day. It's usually when I get home from work, which is in the evening. But now since she's with you, it would still be in the evening now. But it's once a day in the evening.
Okay. And how many what would you say total cups of kibble and fresh pet?
I think 1 cup of kibble and then another cup of fresh pet.
yeah, like I don't know the name of it though.
It's called fresh pet, right? It comes in a log.
Yeah, it's the meat, but the kibble would be farmers.
Okay, that's fine. It's not a big deal. I just try to get an idea.
Yeah. She also takes salmon oil, and I give her these vitamins, these capsules, and I give it to her as well.
Okay. Are there any medical issues I should be aware of? Any injuries, surgeries, allergies? Is she on medication for anything?
No.
Okay. And then you guys have never worked with the trainer before? There's been no previous training? Okay. All right. How can I help you?
Well, she was having aggression problems at first when we first noticed it. So whenever she was a baby, when she was a puppy, I would try to take her out, take her with me to like Walmart or HEB, or I would even take her to the park. But even at that, like whenever I would take her to the park, I would
Like dog park or park?
No, just like a
Okay.
park. I would steer clear from like people around because I've noticed like whenever she was like around like 5 months maybe or 6, she would start growling at people or like looking at people. And I remember one time in Walmart we were walking by, she was like growling at this like older man because he was like staring at her.
It got really like kind of more and more the older that she went.
So how many months was she when it started, would you say?
Probably like a year, right?
No, like around 6 months. She wasn't even here yet.
Okay, so 6 months we started noticing growling.
Yeah.
Okay.
People.
Specifically people, right?
Well, at first it started with just men.
Yeah,
Because around
like,
whenever we would take her to the vet to get her shots, around like females, like she was fine. She was very friendly. But whenever a man came around that she wasn't familiar with, she would get very on guard.
Okay.
And then progressively it started to like everyone.
And so there's 2 incidents that occurred. She's bitten a dog and she's bitten a person, right?
I wouldn't say she's bitten. She's never bitten anyone. Well, I mean, I don't.
You said here in the forum.
Like hopping.
Yeah, so she's never bitten a dog, but she has like kind of, because we have chihuahuas at my mom's, and sometimes whenever they do get close to her food when she's eating, because she has food aggression, she snaps at them, but she doesn't really bite them, or she'll like kind of
More like a get away from you.
Yeah.
Know what I mean?
like she comes at them, but she's not wanting to bite them.
How many? It's 2 chihuahuas?
It's 3 in total, but she doesn't like primarily one.
Beef or
Muffin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then here in the forum, you said she nipped at somebody and caused them to bleed. When did that happen?
Yes, that happened this December.
2024?
Yes.
Okay.
It was my cousin. Actually, my cousin's been around her since she was a puppy. Not too often, not every month, but she's
like
familiar. She's familiar with her. And that specific day, my family was having a gathering. So I had a bunch of aunts and uncles and cousins and little cousins everywhere, like downstairs. And I kept her in my room because I didn't want her getting out. And so we go upstairs, and Bia, my cousin, follows me, and she's like, "Oh, where's baby?" And then I bring her out. I tell her to sit outside my door. She's not really going anywhere. And she's just like kind of like looking down. You know what I've noticed though? Like she does not like when people kind of look down on her. Cause I remember like the first time she ever jumped up at someone, like how she did to my cousin, was when we were at the vet. And it was she wasn't the vet, but
The vet tech?
The vet tech. She was trying to like lure her in with like treats or something to take her to the back to examine her because we thought she was pregnant. And she like jumped up at her, but the vet kind of reacted very quickly. She was like, "Whoa!" And then like she kind of just settled down. But yeah, my cousin was basically doing the same thing. She kind of like bent down to look down at her, and she was like, "Hi, baby." And then baby just like jumped up at her and nicked her like right here, like very small. It kind of looked like she didn't bleed bad. It kind of looked like she just popped like a pimple and like you bleed, but.
So it wasn't like a puncture, but more like just like a nick, like if you take your diabetes, something like that, like a little prick.
It was very small. And she honestly didn't feel it because she was like, "Whoa," and I was like, "Whoa," and I got really mad at her. But also, baby knows when we get like really upset with her.
Yeah, but I think that might have been like right on the time when baby got more like
started getting a little bit
toward women.
Yeah.
Too. Yeah.
And so my cousin didn't even feel it. I was like, I looked at her and I was like, "Whoa!" I was like, "Was that there?" I was like, "No, that was not there." And she was like, "What?" And then I grabbed a napkin, I cleaned. I was just like, "Oh, I didn't even feel that." But
Did it bleed a lot, or it stopped pretty quickly?
No, it stopped
Okay.
pretty
Yeah.
It was a small night.
Okay. So that happened December, and then how long ago did the incident with your niece occur?
Probably like about 2.
2 weeks ago, when you contacted me.
Yes.
Okay. Talk to me about that. I know we talked about it over the phone. I just kind of want to hear it again.
Yeah, well, with that one, Alright, like the way I have it in my room, I have like the bed and then the TV right here. It ain't that big, probably like little bit in here, like. But anyway, yeah, we're eating on the bed, and then kind of we're eating on the bed.
And she's sitting behind me too.
Yeah, baby
on the bed.
Her, yeah, behind her.
So I do sleep with her.
Yeah.
I stopped doing that, but she's
but
just good.
and then yeah, my niece had ate with me and her, but on like the little table I have like a little table in the corner, and yeah, she eating and everything, and then we're about to get done eating, and then my niece had walked around.
Knock it off. Good. Go ahead.
Yeah, and then yeah, she had walked around, kind of creeped around to like give baby food, and then I heard baby kind of growl. Right when baby growled, I turned around and they hopped off like the bed, kind of like to go at her, and I grabbed her by like her fat
Scruff, yeah.
And then I pulled her down. I held her down and got mad at her and everything, and I told her to move, and so.
Was it kind of similar to what just happened now?
Yeah.
So what I'm noticing here, we'll get into everything, but what I'm noticing here, right before she reacted and tried to bite me just now, she got close to me to try to sniff me, right? And so when I don't trust a dog and a dog doesn't trust me, you can smell me fine from where you're at. Dogs can smell miles away. You don't need to get close to me. What she's looking for is opportunity, right? And so in that moment when she's close to me within biting distance, if I make the wrong move, if I put too much pressure on her, if I do something she doesn't like, boom, she's right there. She can bite me. So when I noticed that, I'm like, no, get away from me. That's when she started to growl. So I got up, challenged her basically like, okay, what do you want to do? She came up, caught it, right? She tried one more time. She laid down, and I don't know if you heard, she went like, fuck you, right? And I'm like, yeah, it sucks, right? But you're not going to fucking bite me. We're not going to do that here. So the main thing I'm noticing, and when I post this, you'll see like the hackles up on her spine and her shoulders come up. So she's a very insecure dog, and this is fear aggression, okay? But it doesn't mean she's scared, okay? Think of it as fight, flight, or freeze. So in her mind, when the fear aggression activates, it's like she's fighting for her life. She feels like I'm trying to kill her or something like that, right? And so I would ask you, what do you think is more dangerous? Somebody that is an aggressive person that wants to cause you harm, or somebody that thinks they're fighting for their life? The latter, right? Because there's nothing you won't do to save your own skin. And so part of this is genetic, right? Because she's not even a year and a half old yet, and this started at 6 months old. And if you guys haven't abused her, neglected her, beat the shit out of her, there's no reason for her to be reacting this way, right? So that's nature. The other part of it too is nurture, right? Everything from what you named her to how you're living with her to how you're treating her, how you're talking to her. You're enabling these behaviors, right? And I get that she's your dog and you love her, and I don't have an issue with that. But we have to understand that what we're doing is fueling this behavior. This dog is already very insecure and fearful. And now when you treat her like a baby and you let her sleep in bed with you and you let her do all these things, in her mind, you're reinforcing all this. She thinks, okay, this is the way that I need to communicate. So she has an issue, not with men, but with pressure. Okay, so that spatial pressure of hovering over her, looking down at her. She's low to the ground. We're up high, right? I'm 6'5". So that's a mountain towering over her. And she's like, I don't like this, back away, right? And so there's two types of aggression. There's aggression as a mindset, I am aggressive, and then there's aggression as a tool. I use aggression because it works. And I feel like it's both, but it's more I use it because it works, right? Like Yeah, there's a genetic predisposition to this, probably because she's poorly bred. I mean, you got her at a flea market for $300, right? And so, I mean, it is what it is. You get what you pay for, but we don't know this dog's genetic background. We don't know her parents. You know, it's likely that those people didn't breed for temperament, for health, for genetics. They bred to make money, right? And so that's when you get dogs like this that already have a genetic predisposition to aggression against dogs. You know, they have a genetic predisposition to resource guarding. There's just a lot of behaviors there that are very predatory, right? These are predatory animals. And so when you do things like let her sleep in bed with you, you're letting her know you're equals. You're inviting her into your intimate personal space, right? And so if she thinks you're equals, you're on the same playing field, then when she's acting out, why does she have to listen to you? We're the same rank. Does that make sense? Questions, comments, concerns about that?
I feel like we've been kind of knowing that. She's mostly with me.
Yeah.
And I treat her like she's really like my little baby.
She's not a Yorkie.
Yeah, but and I know that's where I went wrong with that.
Sure.
But yeah, I feel like we both like kind of know that.
And look,
So we got now that we talked to you too. We got her like the crate, and we, you know what I mean.
how's that been going?
Good.
Yeah.
She's pretty good with like following commands. Like we just tell her to go to your bed or get off or no. And she's pretty good at listening. We've never really had a problem with that, but it's just like the aggression.
Yeah. And look, I want to make it clear. I'm not here to beat up on you and point the finger at you and say it's your fault, right? I'm just here to make it clear and help you understand where we went wrong so that we can, at the very minimum, stop doing those things, right? Because that's fueling the behavior. If we take away the gas and there's nothing left in the tank and she stops, then we know it's just habituation, it's just lifestyle, it's just what we were doing. If we take away the gas and she's running on empty still doing it, okay, now we have more of a genetic problem, right? And so you can't out-train genetics. If somebody in your family has diabetes, you're more likely to get diabetes than me that doesn't have a family history. You could work out, eat right, avoid sugars, but you still may end up diabetic, right? That's the nature aspect of it. And so if we do all the right things, provide structure, provide routine, provide boundaries, and she's still acting out and aggressive, then okay, this is a genetic issue that we're gonna have to manage for the rest of the dog's life, okay? Now, we're at a fork in the road because I would say this is pretty moderate. It's not severe to the point where I feel like she's a danger to herself and others, but we're at moderate here. As she reaches social and sexual maturity at about 2-3 years old, she's gonna be a grown-ass woman. That's gonna be a way different dog than the one you have right now. And so if we do all this legwork, when she reaches maturity, there may be another bump in the road where we'll have to address it at that point in time. If you squash it, it's going to be much easier to manage it forevermore. But if she's successful, or if we get complacent and we relax and we go back to the way things were, it's going to be much harder to get her back from it once she reaches social and sexual maturity. Does that make sense? And so I just want to be very clear about genetics wise. So you say you've seen me on TikTok. Did you see the Borbell evaluation, that South African Mastiff behind the fence?
Yes.
Okay.
Black one, right?
Yeah.
I saw it. I'm not gonna lie to you. I got kind of sad because I started thinking about her. And
Right.
I was like, I don't.
But the main difference is she's not a 185-pound dog bred to fight lions, right? Now, it doesn't make her any less dangerous. I know there's a stigma behind them, and we've seen what these dogs are capable of. But I mean, look, the pros here, she's laying down, she's settled, she stopped the shit once I told her don't do that. That shows me promise, right? If I did that and she kept trying, or I keep seeing her like looking for the opportunity, okay, well, that's a little bit more of a problem because now she's stalking me. Now she's being predatory, right? So I don't think she's as far gone as that, but the same concept applies where with Sanka, that dog, his genetic predisposition, okay, let's say I got him to listen to me. Is the owner going to be able to do that? Are the children? Are the wife? So it doesn't matter what I do. It matters what you guys do, right? And so understanding you don't have a social butterfly of a dog, understanding that your dog has issues with pressure, and that it's going to take some management and some training to get her to understand what's okay and what's not okay, that's what's going to set you up for success long term. What that means is you may not get to enjoy the dog the way you originally thought or planned when you got her, right? So like, especially with family, and like I'm Hispanic too, so I get it. It's hard. Especially like parents, they want grandkids. When you don't have grandkids, you have a dog, they think the dog is their grandkid. And so they got to understand like, hey, this is my dog, and what you do is going to influence me. I'm going to have to deal with that hangover. So when your cousins, your family, anybody wants to say hi, be like, actually, she's not comfortable saying hi to strangers, or she's not comfortable with people towering over her. So just kind of leave her alone, let her exist, right? Advocating for your dog in that way will take away that, for one, that social pressure away from her where she thinks she needs to make the decision, right? It'll build trust because she knows you're going to advocate for her, you're going to go to bat for her. And then she gets to practice the behavior less and less, right? Now, over time, once everything's conditioned, the dog understands the expectation, the rules have been established, maybe I can trust her to be more social with certain people that follow my rules and instructions. But because she's already done it, and because she's, dogs can choose to do a number of things when they feel conflict. Conflict meaning they're in a stressful situation where they feel like they need to bite or use aggression. They can run away, they can bark, they can growl, they can bite your feet. She's chosen to come up to the face on more than one occasion. So what that tells, that's a kill shot, right? If I could push you, I could punch you, I could do that, but if I go to the face, I'm trying to cause you harm. And so she came up to your cousin, got her here. With your niece, she was coming up to her face, right? Or coming down because she was on the bed and your niece was on the floor?
Yeah, kind of like equal level.
Okay. Right, but so like targeting the face is a problem, right? And even here, like, I'm not going to go as far as saying she was targeting my face, but she was coming up, right? And so like, I can only assume she was targeting this area. My money maker. No, kidding.
And I feel like with her, she, I wouldn't only say she only reacts on like when there's pressure around. She reacts to like very minor things as well. For example, when we're in the car and I have her in the back seat, we're at a red light, a homeless walks by and she's just like growling, not like it's very like a low growl.
Yep.
Or even like when we're on the way here, we're at a red light and there's a cyclist behind the car. And she did the little low growl again. And I correct her, I tell her no, or I slap her butt. But it's just like every time, like.
So and here's the thing. So what that is barrier frustration. Anytime your dog is behind a gate, a fence, a door, a window, the car, and there's something outside that she wants to go away, if she can't get to it or make it go away, then she becomes frustrated and it displays as aggression, right? And so even on a leash, right, the dog pulls, dog wants to go, that's a barrier preventing her from getting to what she wants to get to. The low growl, that's the serious one. That's the I'm not fucking around, right? Was it like what I experienced here, that growl she gave me?
No, it was more like.
Was it worse than the one?
Kind of like crying a little bit, like a little bit like annoyed,
I was even surprised, like when we pulled up, she looked at you, she didn't growl and or she didn't even bark, and I was really surprised by that.
Kind of like more like
a little bit.
More like.
Do you know why? Do you know why? Because I'm not coming at her going, oh hey babe, how you doing? Blah, 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 like most people are. Don't do it. So just now when I started to get high like that, her head came up, she started targeting me, right? And so I'm making eye contact and she's thinking about it. That's why I'm like, don't do it, right? And we had a little standoff there, and then she yielded and she put her head back down, right? So like, here's the thing. Try finding somebody that's going to stand up to this dog the way I've stood up to your dog, right? If you don't know behavior, you don't know what you're looking at, what you're doing, and I back up, weakness draws aggression. Y'all ever play 2 for flinching? Like if I flinch at you, you go, then I punch you twice. Maybe it's before your time. Back in my day, that was called 2 for flinching. But weakness draws aggression, strength repels aggression. So every time she's shown me aggression, I'm standing up to her. And I'm letting her know that shit don't work here. And so now she's like, oh, okay, don't work, can't do it. And she's choosing to just lay down and be a good girl. But your 5-year-old niece, 5-year-old niece, she's not going to stand up to this dog. Your cousin, she's not going to stand up to this dog. So this is where you guys as the owners need to correct the behavior. Not even, notice, I'm not getting upset with her. I'm not angry. I'm not frustrated. But I'm being assertive, right? I'm being confident. I'm being a leader. And so like some of the things I noticed just on the way in, you're telling her, sit down, wait, it's okay. You're saying all these things and she's not listening to any of it, right? That's not leadership. That's bribery. That's begging. That's negotiating. And with this dog, there is no negotiation. This is non-negotiable. When I tell you to fucking do something, you're going to do it, right? And so to your point, yeah, you say no and you smack her on the butt, but what does no mean, right? Because if no was enough for her to stop the behavior, she wouldn't keep doing it. If smacking her on the butt was enough of a consequence, she wouldn't keep doing it. So I think part of it is it's unclear to her what the expectation is because you're being unclear with your consequence, right? With your reinforcement, with all those things. And then you add the individual relationship you have with the dog, you versus you. Like I could tell with you, she's a little bit more timid, a little bit more respectful, but it's more on the fear side of things. Like, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like you use intimidation to kind of correct her or command respect.
Yeah, you're like more like a tough love.
Yeah, more like a tough love. Like I'll get after her a lot.
Right.
Like,
and it's fine, right? I mean, you're doing the best you can with what you know, right? Once we know better, we can do better. And then maybe to me, it seems like you try to overcompensate for him being mean and you're nice to her. Right. So, but look, it's fine. I get it. Okay. Once we know better, we can do better. And loving a dog, you have to understand what a dog is and who your dog is, right? And then you need to love her in the ways that make her quality of life improve. Because right now, I don't think anybody has the best quality of life. Sure, she's got a roof over her head. You cook her meals, you love her, you do all these things. But she's a liability, right? And she's cute. She's got a little smushy face. I just want to squeeze it. But I know she's going to fuck me up if I try. So I don't think she's past saving. But some's got to give. And I want to be very clear that even if you sign up for training and we go through this whole process, like I said, once she reaches maturity, there may be another speed bump. Maybe not. I always tell people, I'll set the goalposts, right? At the very least, you'll have a better understanding of your dog's behavior. You'll have some management tools so that you can better manage the situation. And quality of life will improve for everybody included. At the very best, the training works. She's a good dog. She stops the shit. And you can have a happy life. We could land anywhere in between those two goals. Okay? Because like I said, I can't change genetics. You cannot train genetics. All you can do is manage it and understand it. Questions, comments, concerns?
Now that you're here today.
I mean, look, yeah, if you wanted to, we could.
But how would it work?
Yeah, like the process of it.
Is there like an evaluation on your part on how long she would have to stay here? Or?
That's what this is. So she's already tried to bite me twice now. Very little provocation, right? So, and she's got one bite history, even though it's not that bad, and then she's got another one against a kid. So like I have 3 kids, a 3-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 7-year-old. I assume you want that addressed, and so I'm going to have to bring my kids into the situation and make sure that she doesn't try to bite them. In these instances, she could turn on me, try to bite me. I have a trainer here, Kevin. He works Monday through Friday. She could try to bite him. I have other dogs here. She could try to bite them. So she's a bite risk, right? And so if we're going to do it, I need to put her in those situations in order for me to be like, yeah, she's good, or no, she's not. I'm not going to blow smoke up your ass and be like, oh yeah, she's great because I'm the best dog trainer in the world. No. I got to put her in these situations, the same ones you've experienced, give her a consequence and see how she responds. So far, but all 3 times that she, like the 2 times she tried to bite me and the 1 time she challenged me, she's accepted it, which again is good. That's great. That means with consistency and somebody that's willing to stand up to you, you'll listen. But it doesn't matter what I do, it matters what you do. And so this means you got to change your habits. You got to change your habits. We got to change the way we live with this dog, right? The rules, all these things, the boundaries, the structure. It's certainly, and I'm not telling you to do this, right? But it's certainly cheaper and easier to put the dog down. But if you want to keep the dog and you want to work with the dog and you want to make long-term results, that's an investment that's not just financial, it's emotional, it's mental. You're going to have to put in the work. And so I would say at minimum, we're looking at a 6-week behavior mod board and train, right? And so part of that reason is there's a hormonal imbalance. So anytime she's in conflict, right, these little moments, there's a cortisol spike, a dopamine dump, and it takes her a long time to get back to ground zero, right, back to level. That takes about 28 to 30 days to regulate. So that's putting her in stressful situations where we see the hormonal imbalance, working her through that hormonal imbalance, and then being consistent. And so that'll take about 30 days to regulate. Then on top of that is throughout that time period, we're also going to be teaching her obedience, manners, behaviors, all the things. The last 2 weeks is to generalize those things in different environments, locations, distractions, etc. So at the end of the 6 weeks, we have a good understanding of who your dog is and where she's at that point. It takes us as humans about 3 weeks to develop new habits, right? A new workout routine, learn a new language, things like that. It takes dogs 3 months to develop long-term memory. So that's 90 days of consistency. So if you do the 6-week board and train, that's 42 days out of the 90 days. Once she comes home with you, I give you the 30-day reset, which is, it's kind of like a do-it-yourself board and train where you're basically going to mirror the structure and the boundaries that I do here, and you're going to do it at home. That resets the environment because we're different people at school than we are at home, than we are at work. It resets your relationships because I'm different with my friends than I am my family, than I am my boss, right? Mm-hmm. And so that'll take you to 72 out of 90 days. Then you have 18 days left to get back to zero. Because right now she's in the negatives. 90 days will bring you to zero, and then another 90 days will bring you into the positives. So in the next 3 to 6 months is when you're going to start to see that long-term result. Does that make sense? And it's the way that I do my board and trains. You drop off on Monday. We have a lesson. The dog stays with me until Friday. We have another lesson so you could learn what she learned throughout the week. And then she would go home with you on the weekend so that you can implement that homework. And then you would bring her back Monday, and we would lather, rinse, repeat for the course of 6 weeks. Now, a dog like her, she may not go home the first 2 weekends because we'll just be making progress. And if she goes back to her environment, back to you guys, it's too much too soon. So I would like to keep her straight for 2 weeks. You would still come for lessons, right? And then the last 4 weeks, she would be coming home for the weekend so that you could start to do stuff, bring her back, let me know how it goes. It went well, it went bad, whatever. But I need to train you guys and educate you just as much as she needs to be trained and educated. Does that make sense? So it's a process, but I've had great results, especially with behavior models. Have you seen the Leo case, the Husky?
I've seen all of it.
Yeah, so he just went home last week, and so he was here for 10 weeks, and it was tough, it was hard, but he did well, the owners did well. A big part of that is I had to work his female owner through the PTSD of his bite history, because she lost a friend, and she went through that whole ordeal. They had to lawyer up. They spent tens of thousands of dollars. Like, she went through it. And so it was hard to kind of get her to come out of that place, but she's doing well now, and Leo's doing good. It's only been a week. There's still more to go. But I mean, this is my wheelhouse. I mean, you came in, immediately I handled your dog. She tried to bite me. I shut it down, no problem, right? So, but this isn't fixed. This is just a glimpse of what she's got to go through. Once you guys drop her off, she's away from you, she's here with me and Kevin, I may see a different dog. I may see a dog that gets more severe, right? And then, like I said, there's always the risk that she may bite me. She may bite my trainer. She may bite a dog. And so I'm willing to take on that risk, but I need to know that you guys are committed to the process. I mean, that's kind of where we're at. I mean, I see the potential. I see that she can be worked at this point. It's only going to get worse before it gets better. Questions, comments, concerns?
We have to.
I don't need an answer right now. I know y'all got to look through your finances and everything. That's fine. I just, while you're here, I want to make sure I address everything for you. I give you some sort of guidance so that you're not just like lost in the sauce. But I would say, so I break training down into 3 segments. There's coexisting, how you live with the dog. There's behavior. And then lastly, there's obedience. How you live with the dog is the most important one. So the rules, structures, and boundaries that you have in the home. No free roaming the house, no furniture, no sleeping in bed, crated when unsupervised, unleashed when out of the crate. Behavior is like understanding this is an insecure dog with fear, aggression, knowing how to read the dog's body language so that you know what's going on in her head within reason, because we're not dogs, right? And then lastly, obedience, using functional commands to guide the dog, to control the dog, things like that. And so my recommendation to you, whether you sign up with me or not, anytime she's unsupervised, and that means you can't stop what you're doing to tell her yes or no, she needs to be crated. Anytime she is out of the crate, she needs to be on leash with the leash in your hand, so that if she goes to do something, you can go no, right? Or you can prevent her from doing it. She shouldn't be off leash under any circumstance, in the house, in the backyard, in the front yard, anywhere, okay? Because when she's off the leash and she doesn't respect you and she doesn't know the verbal stuff, how can you get this dog to stop doing what she's doing, right? You can't. And this is not forever. This is until we get to an understanding, until we can trust the dog respects us, and the rules are clear, right? I want to make that very clear, because people jump to, so I can't ever let my dog off the leash? Did I say that? No, right? But right now it's a liability to let her off the leash, right? It's a liability to do any of these other things. I would stop bringing her to your mom's house, right? Because that's where the issue with the Chihuahuas is going on. If you did have to bring her to your mom's house, then I would have a crate there and I would feed her in the crate so that she can't mess with the other dogs, and vice versa. Structured meals, feed her in the crate, right?
Do you think too that play a big role, like being at mine and then at hers? And
there's a lot of inconsistency,
yeah, so like,
because I'm different at work than I am at school, than I am at mom's, than I am at grandma's.
Yeah.
So this is where having a set rule and a set structure and a set boundary helps. Like, I'm raising 3 little girls. I don't care where we are. You know the rules. You know what I expect from you. And because they're children, I can understand they don't have the emotional intelligence to just act right. So when they mess up, I go, hey, what do we do here? What do you say? Do we act that way? And I give them the opportunity. I'm not just straight like hammering them, right? Now, if I've told you already and I've corrected you already and you still do it, yeah, dad's going to yell. Dad's going to get upset. But how many chances did I give you before that? And it's the same thing with the dog, right? But we have to teach her what's expected, because if sometimes she can do it, sometimes she can't. Depending on where we are, she can do it. Sometimes she can't. Like, there's just too much gray area there. And so she needs to learn how to operate in black and white before I can trust her in the gray, right? Prove to me you can operate in yes and no, hot and cold, before I let you do maybe. Make sense?
Yeah.
Do y'all have questions, comments, concerns about any of that? So the other thing I want to test is I want to see how she reacts to other dogs. This is where it can get a little sketchy, because if I correct her off a dog and then she wants to come back at me, I'm going to have to go into defensive handling. I just ask that. I mean, I know you guys trust me. That's why you're here. Just let me do my thing. Once it's said and done and we come back in here, we can talk about it, right? But before we do that, any questions? Can I see her vaccinations?
Yeah.
Make sure she's up
I can do the payment right now.
for the.
Yeah,
Okay, then I'll trust. So she's got the lepto, bordetella. She's got her rabies. Good. That's the big ones.
I'll do time though. We gotta go back,
The rabies is good for 3 years, so she's good till 2026. And the Bordetella, she's good till 2026. So she's good there. All right. I'll get a sip of this and then we'll... And then again, just don't talk to her, just ignore her, okay? So immediately you see the hackles. Don't acknowledge her when she turns back. You see the hackles? Tail's tucked. She's looking back for reassurance. Tail's up now. Targeting. Stalking. So flight. She's trying to escape. Looking back for reassurance. Avoidance. Okay. Tail tucked. Very scared and insecure. You can come a little bit closer. That's good. So look, the trembling, the shaking. Yeah, this is... So fight, flight, freeze. She's trying to run away, you can't. She tries to fight, don't do that. The last thing is freeze. This is good. I know it looks bad, but this is good. So the only thing I want to prevent now is I don't want this to be the thing that relieves the conflict, right? I don't want her shutting down. That's not the answer. So I want to wait for a little bit of a quiet. I want to wait for a change in demeanor. I don't want her to be so avoidant or shut down or scared. And then we can leave. But look, see, loose leash, right?
We've never seen her tail like fully tucked like that.
Yeah. I didn't do anything. I just prevented her from doing the behavior and prevented her from running away. Fight, flight, freeze. And I know you want to feel sorry for her right now, but don't, okay? She needs this. She needs to learn how to figure this stuff out.
What kind of dog is that one?
That's a Great Dane. The big one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Marmaduke. Great Dane. Okay, so she's shutting down. Quiet, Nate. Try not to make any eye contact with her. Okay.
What are their routines? Like, how long does each dog get trained, personally trained, like each day?
We'll talk about that when we get back in the office, if that's okay. A little stress yawn. See her licking her lips, stress yawn. Okay, good. So you see how her demeanor's changing? She's being a little bit more neutral, right? That's all I want, is I want it to be shutting down, being scared. None of that worked, right? All right, follow me back out. You're going to see a stress shake from her. She might shake. No? Okay. So right now she's frantically trying to get back to y'all. Good.
And after all that, like we ignore her a little bit, kind of more like how we.
So it's like when a kid falls or gets hurt and they look to you to see if they should cry or laugh, right? So when she was looking back for that reassurance, that was if you would have reassured her, you're reassuring her insecurity, her shutting down, the fearfulness of it all. That's why when she looked back at y'all and didn't get a reaction, she's like, oh, this is different, right? You're not telling me it's okay. You're not reinforcing this behavior, right? And so it forced her to figure something else out. And because she's never felt like that and never been in that position before, she kind of just laid down. So now, in this instance, that's the best I could have hoped for, right? Like, I'm not expecting her to be like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm good. But I just don't want her shutting down. And so when she calmed down, she was neutral. That's right. We walk out. And if you notice, when we walked out, she didn't even stop to look at y'all or smell you or go to you. She just, I'm trying to get the fuck out of here, right? So, like, that's good. Because I do this with, I mean, you've seen my videos. I do this with dogs. Sometimes the dogs are trying to kill them. They're trying to kill me. She's not trying to do either. She just thinks that's what she has to do. Because it's worked before. And that's why this reinforces my diagnosis that she has an issue with pressure and it's a tool, not a mindset, right? Because if it was a mindset, she would have doubled down on that behavior. Fuck me, fuck you. Boom, comes up the leash. But in that moment, she wasn't even worried about me. She was worried about the dogs. Right? Questions, comments, concerns about what you saw in there? No, that all makes sense? So now back to your question about what's the dog's routine. So Kevin comes in at 6 a.m. From 6 to 3, it's one dog in and one dog out. So he comes in, takes the dog out for their morning walk, lets them go pee and poo, puts them into the training cycle. So like we do treadmill conditioning, we do the settling, the obedience, whatever we're working on. We'll do a session. They're good. We'll put them away. We'll get the next dog out. And we just lather, rinse, repeat throughout the whole day. Then from like 3 to 6, because it's super hot, they're just decompressing in the crate room. It's climate controlled. It feels nice in there. There's cameras. I feed them dinner, and then I walk them right before bedtime, and then they sleep in the crate overnight. So it's very structured, very regimented. That's by design. Giving your dog all the freedom she had is what got her here. So taking away that freedom and making her slowly earn it back is what's going to get her where we want to be, right? And also because this is, the liability factor, I just can't have dogs free roaming when I'm not watching them. They have to be crated. But there's water, like I said, there's cameras, it's climate controlled. I live here on the property, so somebody's always here. On the weekends, it's a little bit more informal. Not informal, but it's just not as much work because people on the weekends want to relax, want to enjoy. So we do more behavior stuff. So like while my kids are swimming in the pool or they're playing, I'll have the dog out. And so if she reacts, I'll correct. If she chills out, I'll reward. And then I'll put her away, right? And so it's more like working on home manners and behavioral expectations and things like that. But it's a very structured program, and the dog learns all the skills she needs to learn in order to help you guys be able to control her. It's more of putting her in situations like that and then teaching her how to navigate them and how to come out the right way. Does that answer your question? Yeah. And then like you see, I record all my stuff and I post all the lessons. So the in-person lessons will be your update. Outside of that, any sessions I record will be an update. But yeah, I mean, I feel good about it. I feel I can help you, like I said. Anywhere in between the two goalposts. It's promising what I'm seeing, right? Yeah, that was more severe than I would have expected, but not totally bad. Just severe in the fact of like, she shut down, right? And it didn't take much for her to shut down. It just took a quick, we don't do that and you can't run away, right? So that, again, that's promising because it tells me it's not a dog that is actually in the mindset of aggression. It's more so like a natural instinct, and it's a tool that's worked for her before. Yeah. Questions, comments, concerns about any of that?
No, sir.
Okay. So what do we think?